Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining the training session for Springboard session number 4. In today's topic, we're going to discuss about all the reference data, how we can manage the drop-down list or the labels, and how we can create new if we want to or remove from the existing drop-down list. Also, we're going to do an admin console check, which will be talking about different other functionality you have for the admin. Also, we're going to see how we can set up an SMS functionality that allows all the hiring managers to send SMS through Springboard. The other functionality we're going to discuss is about creating email templates and detailed work on. Yep, Chris. Yep. So I think that was because of Steven's. I've muted Steven for now. All good. So yeah, we're going to discuss about how we create some email templates and how we can change, no worries, and how we can change, create or application status, which is used in Process Designer. The first topic is about drop-down list. So within Springboard, let's say if you go to any jobs, any drop-down list which you can see can be managed using reference data. In Springboard, we call that list as a reference values. To manage or create a new reference list item, all you need to do is at the right top corner, click on your name panel and then select admin mode. Once you do it, you get a pencil icon next to all the drop-down list. You can click on the pencil icon to change the existing one or press new to add a new list. Let's say I'm going to create a new employee status to say agent contract role. And you can change the order if you wish to put it at the top. If not, you can stay it. And if you want to remove any existing one, you can press on the bin icon to delete. Once you have made the changes, you can press save. Once you have saved, press at the cross icon at the top and refresh the page. Moving forward, if you click on the drop down, you can see now your new added value. The other way to do it is, let's say the drop-down list is not on the requisition screen, but it's on the application form. Let's say as an admin, you wanted to see there's a question being asked on an application form, and you want to change the list from that. I'm trying to log in as a candidate quickly. You find the question on which you want to make the changes. So in this case, I'm going to select, are you comfortable with teamwork? And there are already 3 options. And I want to change one of the label. Instead of I'm not really sure, I'm going to say do not answer. To do it, we go back to the Springboard. We click on administration and we click on reference data. After that, you click on the reference data management. We're going to search by typing the same label you got. So I'm going to make sure, so type that. Once you have found out, you can click on the label to amend the existing one, and then click on the Operations tab to press Edit. Change the label, say Answer, and press Save. That way, if I go back to the Springboard application form in the front end, and if I find that value, that has been changed. So basically, all your drop-down lists within Springboard, which is used on your requisition screen or application form, can be amended using reference data. The next topic for today is Admin Console. Admin Console is basically all the admin access you got, and you can make amendment as an administration within Springboard. To do this, go to Administration, click on Admin Console, and you will have different tabs to perform different actions. Let's talk about a few major tabs. The first one is Candidate Account. A good example can be a candidate comes in touch with a recruiter and decided to disable the account. Let's say we find the candidate by last name or through email address and press search. The system will basically bring up the result. Once you have found the correct username to be disabled, you can click on the Action tab to click Edit, and then you can decide whether to disable it as per the request, or you can also change the first name or last name. Candidate can perform those actions from their front end as well. However, there are some scenarios where they get in touch to the recruiters to make that happen. You can click on History tab to understand when the candidate has logged in last, and also understand what was the last job the candidate applied for. The application admin is another area we're going to discuss later during the process. The broadcast is basically sending out an email to all the users of Springboard. You can also select different kind of drop-down options from which you can say if it's for the team update, which means all the recruiters and hiring managers will get. You can send and type a short message along with a header, and that will be message sent out through the Springboard. This is not going to go out as an email, rather it will be pop up within the Springboard. Candidate Portal Config is where once you start using onboarding process, you can customize your text area and all the texts which is being used around different section of the Springboard. This text area is widely used on the front end. So let's go to the front end and see if I got any onboarding process setup. All the text you are seeing right now is basically being configured under the tab Candidate Portal Config. This is widely discussed as a part of the project when an onboarding is being initially set up for any client. Candidate profile is basically creating some custom fields for the candidate's profile tab. This can be used as creating some additional columns or basically extra information against a candidate. This can be saved and can be used for information purpose. You can also create candidate profile for the front end, which means when a candidate wants to register, they can be asked some custom information, and that can be used for different purpose in Springboard, such as automation through Rules Engine. You can create columns under the libraries. You can also decide which place you want to create your own different candidate questions. Also, you can also map some application forms. So let's say if you selected a certain question within the candidate profile, you can map those information back to an application form. Email address override is another admin functionality, which is basically being set up when your system teams comes and say, "No, we would like to have our company's email address as a to address. However, since Springboard is sending email out to the candidate, they don't want to put our mail server on the whitelist." And there are different ways to set that up. All you need to do is follow the step to provide information, which will be capturing original from address, and then we're going to put some replacement from address, which will be basically Springboard, no reply at springboard.com, for example, and then what action you need to decide. The other tab we're going to discuss is Hiring Manager Feedback. Now, by default, all your feedbacks are captured as unstructured feedback, which means all the hiring managers or the panel members will be receiving a text box to provide comment. Now, if you wish to have some structured question being asked around all the hiring manager feedback, all you need to do is set up some questions. You can decide whether you wish to show all the assessments to the candidate, to the panel members. If so, you can select from the list. Also, you can create different type of questions. Let's quickly create one question. To create one, press on Add. Select whether it will be for each candidate or for a general summary. Also, you got different type of question types. So let's say we're going to have a drop down. I'm going to put label size. Put a question, and then we're going to select from the different reference data. Now let's say I'm going to go yes and no, and then by default it will pick up those information. If you wish to change those values, press edit, and that will allow you to make changes. If you say you want to use the reset value, you press the reset icon, and that does. You can also select whether this question will be marked as mandatory or not. Whether you decided to keep that inactive, you can untick it and press save. Once you have finalized that question to be asked to all the panel chairs, you come back to the question and mark that to active and press save. Moving forward, all the feedback which is raised will be structured. Questions will be asked to the panel members, and those questions will be configured through the admin console under the hiring manager feedback. The other tab which we're going to discuss is holiday. So this functionality basically allows you to add all the coming or future holidays. So that way, all the email templates which is being used as an automation to send out with a delay, or even when you send an email to the candidate through Interview Scheduler, those days will be excluded, and that means no emails will be triggered during the holiday period. All you need to do is basically click on the date you wish to. So let's say I'm going to say, good example will be 1st of January, description, New Year, and press add. So that way, if you want to see all the holidays for the coming years, you can quickly check. If there's no record, you can keep adding. If you wish to do a bulk, you can request app support to do it through database, and that can be done as a bulk entry. The interview auto communication. The following tab is basically pre-deciding what email templates will be pre-selected every time any interview slots or interview scheduler is used. This is widely used when you try to create multiple interview or bulk interviews on a regular interval, and that way you don't have to select the interview based templates, and you will be basically by default being selected for you. For the interview locations, as an admin, you can come and amend or create new location at any time by clicking the location tab. With Springboard, it also allows you to generate rich text letters, which is, in other words, offer letters against candidate. To create an offer letter, you will need to know the tags which is going to use within the offer letter. To get the full list of the tag, you click on the RTF template download, you click on full, which I would recommend, and then once it opens the file, I'm just going to quickly show you. The Word document will basically have all the tags which can be used. So let's say a good example is the following document is where the requested to have candidate title, kind of first name, last name, and then the address. So that way, all you need to do is find out the correct tags and replace where you're basically going to enter manually. Again, app support can help you to create one, and this is always a part of the onboarding process. SEO admin. This is where we're going to talk about SEO. So if you already got some SEO details, you can update and create or enable on as an admin, and that way every time any candidate clicks or search following jobs, that can be tracked back. You can also connect Google Analytics, so that way you can track your page calls being done by the candidates or being searched by the web crawlers. We're also going to discuss about SMS account and how to set that up just once we're done with all the other topics. The talent folder process is basically similar to workflow, but this is more defined for your talent folders. To create your folders, you have to have set of libraries. Libraries, in other words, is steps, which is defined within the folder. So let's quickly create one to show you how it's going to be. Let's create a new step, and step name will be called to be added in rec. Once you have created all your steps, you go to the process configuration and press add process. Now I'm going to give a name to say test. Going to say save. You're going to press on the edit icon, and now we're going to create steps against each folders. There are 3 default folders for talent folder workflow. The first one is current. So the current folder is basically where you're going to have all listed candidates, and then you say, yep, in this one, I'm going to add a step. You can select the steps from the existing steps list we created from the library. Once you're done, press save. I need to select a group, and then this one is current. Once you have selected, press save. And as you can see now, business qualified has been added. So do with the successful, we can add. And so do with the unsuccessful, we can add multiple steps. If you wish to delete at any point, you press on the bin icon to delete it. Now, just because this was by default coming up on the folder, it's not allowed you, but let's say if we added the following one, should be able to delete it. Apologies for the inconvenience. Looks like my demo session is not allowing me to. However, once you press the delete, it allows you to delete the steps being added. The next way we're going to talk about the user groups is where you can create different user groups within Springboard. So let's say if you got a set of recruiters who's going to performing actions on different recs, you can basically create a group and make sure anytime those recruiters come into that, or when you create a new recruiter account, you select the group and they will be basically being part of that action. Sort of with the web service integration. Now we do have integration with different third-party providers, including Verify, Montage for video interviews, Xref for the reference check, and we do have different other, again, for police checks and other financial checks, which can be activated or managed from the admin purpose. By default, app support will assist you to create the initial setup. However, if you wish to manage on your end, you have that access and you can enable or disable an existing provider at any time. Now we're going to talk about SMS. Let's say a recruiter decided to send SMS through Springboard, and to do it, the first step is to create an SMS account. Springboard has functionality where it has integrated with SMS Burst as a provider that allows you to seamlessly send SMS to the candidates through Springboard. The first step, which is prior to sending SMS, is to create account. To create account, you will have to register through the Burst SMS portal. Once you register, you will have to add some credits against that account. And then all you need to do is press settings, get the API key, and then you will be creating an API secret, which is basically a password saved in the settings page. All you need to do is then press add new account. You will give a name of the account in the same as the login, which is your login to the SMS account. Then the password, what you entered as the API key. Once you have done, it's up to you whether you wish to share across the business or you want to keep that private to your personal account. Once you have done, all you need to do is press save. There's another video dedicated towards how to set up an SMS account that can be viewed through the same page. Once the SMS account has been set up, recruiter needs to find a candidate. Let's go to any job. Just say if I can get a candidate, and then you select the candidate, right click on the candidate, go to communicate/contact, and then press send SMS. You can select if you have multiple SMS accounts. If not, it will be selected by default. We can also create some different SMS templates in the app comps, which we will discuss later. Once you have selected template, you can amend the details body of the message. Once you're done, make sure there's a mobile number against the candidate and then press send SMS. SMS can be logged and will be visible to the recruiters within the communication tab. So that way they can monitor what SMS has been sent. If a candidate has replied to the SMS, you can also get notification on the notification tab. You can configure a new notification to say if any candidate replies back to the SMS and is been raised by myself, then I should be notified. So that way, moving forward, any candidates reply back to that SMS, you will be notified in the bell icon. A good example is for the retail industry, where you want to say, are you just a reminder message, or are you happy to attend tomorrow's interview at dedicated time? And then if they say yes, it comes back to the bell icon. If no, you can still get in touch to the candidate and try to change the date of the interview. The other topic we're going to discuss for today is adding a new job or application status. Let's talk about the application status. So within the Process Designer, what you're seeing on your left side of my screen is basically each step has a dedicated application status behind them. To check those status, we need to be in the administration and then press Process Designer. As we discussed last session, to create a Process Designer, you have to be in the Process Designer. Once we know which Process Designer we want to amend, click on the short name. And now you can see the whole workflow in a unidirectional. Has multiple steps, and each step has application status within the brackets. So let's say you wish to create a new step between E-Verify and offer. Approval says ref check online. And for each step, to basically make that available, it's very important to have application status. This also allows to Springboard to understand where the candidate's sitting and to make action. This can be used for Rules Engine as well. So let's say you look to the steps and there's no relevant status to be used in this case. So what we can do is, as an admin, you can create a new application status. To do so, let's create a new session of the Springboard. To create a new application status, we need to be under Administration and click on Admin Console. As we discussed earlier, we will talk and discuss more about Application Admin. Within Application Admin, you've got different options. The first one is Application Status, which will be basically the whole list of application status we saw in the drop-down. If you don't see any relevant one, you can create a new one by pressing Add, and then give a name to the code, say RefCheck Online, label RefCheck Online. If you wish to give description and any particular order to be visible in the drop-down. Once you have added the status, let's go back. And from the drop-down, now we can see RefCheck Online is already there in the list for you to select. And that way you can have a relevant status against each step. You can also delete any status which is not in use, and to do it, we again go back to the Administration, Admin Console, Application Admin, select Application Status, find the correct status you wish to remove, press the bin icon, and then select Yes, wish to delete, and press Delete. So that way, any step which is using that following status will not be has to be updated. The other topic for today is AppComs. AppComs are basically email templates which are associated with application or candidate. The following email templates can be used by Rules Engine or by Recruiter to trigger against a candidate, and can be basically use some dynamic text to pre-populate information from Springboard. To create or amend any existing AppComs, we need to go to Administration and click on AppComs. Once you click on AppComs, you will see all activated messages from the top. And then from the bottom, you will see all inactivated messages. If you wish to activate any inactive message, press the Activate button. And that way, the following email template will be activated for the recruiters to use. If you wish to amend any existing email template, click on the email template short name. Let's say, amend email template name test only. And you wish to amend the subject and the body, you can do it. Once you have made the changes, you press Save. To create a new AppComs, we go back to the AppComs page, and at the bottom of the page, there's a button to say Create Message, which allows you to select different type of email templates. As I said earlier, you can create email templates against candidate or application, also for the SMS. We do have different types of email templates across interview or to send a calendar reminder, which also be used within the interview scheduler. Again, if you have referral portal, you can also set up some email templates against referral portal, which means any candidate which has been referred through the referral portal, an email template can be used as an automated. Let's create an applicant email jobs. Just give a name. Press create template. Once we press create template, you can decide whether we want to have a from default address. If you keep this empty, which means every time a recruiter tries to send that email through Springboard, the system will pick the recruiter's email address which is used for that account. If not, you can decide to select no reply at abc.com.au, which is your company's email address. Also, if you know that anytime the default address has to go out to a specific inbox, you can also add that. A good example can be when a candidate moves to the employed stage, you always want an email template to go out to the recruitment inbox. That way you can be notified and keep a track on it. You can also add CC address if you're trying to put yourself and sending some hiring managers an email. Subject to enter. And then you can decide to use different tags, which can be dynamically capturing information within Springboard, such as, let's say, candidate F name. So candidate F name, comma, and then say, if you want to add some other tags, you can say right. Once you have made the changes, press save. You can also test this email template by sending it to yourself to see how the template looks. You can also create or copy existing dynamic template, which means can have a header image and a footer image. And that way you can copy from the existing AppComs. So let's go and find any existing AppCom, which is branded app update. Has a particular styling. You can basically select all, copy it, and then go back to your previous AppCom, which you're trying to make right now. So let's go back to, and then you can select the content and press paste. If you wish to add the tag, again, we can do it in the same way. And once we're done, we press save. Moving forward, if any recruiter wish to send or use this email template, all they need to do is select a candidate, right click and say send email to the selected candidate. Select the template which we created right now, and then you can see the template will come. As a recruiter, if they wish, they can also amend the template at this time, also can attach any documents while sending an email. The final topic for today is Rules Engine, and that is basically how we can set up automation within the job or to the process. Let's talk about setting up a rule against a job. To set up a rule against a job, let's go back to the dashboard and within the application grid. All you're seeing on your left side screen is your workflow steps. All the green folders are basically there is a existing rule setting behind the folder. To create a new rule, we can right click on the folder and press create rule. If you wish to view rules, you can click on view rules. Let's quickly create a new rule. To create a new rule through Rules Engine, it's basically a 4-step wizard. The first step is when the rule will be executed. The two most common scenario is on entry or on send email. A good example of on entry is anytime a following candidate comes on that particular step, the following rule will be executed. And for send email, a good example can be when a recruiter sends an email, then we can execute the following rules. So do Springboard also allow different when status, such as on feedback submitted, which means anytime any hiring manager feedback has been submitted, based on the response they have answered, we can action or trigger certain rules. Sort of with the form submit, where if any Springboard form is being generated and has been submitted, we can generate another form or can send an email to different departments to notify that the following form has been completed. A good example can be for the payroll details. So once a new starter form has been completed, we can notify the payroll team with that details has been completed and even forward those information through email. On result received is basically when if you have been integrated with third-party assessment tools, which is something we app support will initially be setting up. And once that's done, you can also, based on the results received, you can make actions to the rules. Let's quickly create one on entry. So once we selected when the following tool will execute, the second step is to select conditions. Conditions can be based on different application questions which is asked. So for a good example is legal work status. So if you wish to say if any candidate who falls under certain criteria, which is if the candidate equals to response to the question in the application form, says I am Australian citizen or resident or New Zealand citizenship, then I want the following rule to be triggered. Also, there's another filter at the top which says apply on when action. We recommend to select recruiter, which is basically manually moved, and rules engine, which means automatically moves through the Springboard. We always recommend to select both. That's a mandatory field to be selected. Once you have figured out the conditions for your rule, the final step is to decide what action it needs to trigger. In this case, we're going to change status. You got different action in the drop-down list for you. If you wish to send an email out, you can select send email. If you want to change the status, in this case, we're going to do it. We're going to change status, which means we're going to move it to a different step and say, you're going to move it to pre-screening, say rule executed, press next. Final step will be to give a name and review the following rule and press create rule. Once you have created all rules, you can view your rules by clicking on different step and check what it is right now. If you wish to create another rule, you can press on the plus icon at the bottom of the page, which will allow you to create a new rule. If not, you can press at the close button at the top. The other functionality within Springboard is also, let's say, if you wish to manually run the rules automatically, you can click on apply rules immediately. That will basically trigger a rule manually on that particular folder. Let's create another rule for another example. So let's click on the folder and press create rule. This time we're going to create a rule based on send email. As I said, whenever an email will be triggered, we're going to select the condition. We're going to define which email template. We're going to say a good example is a reject email. So anytime a recruiter sends a reject email, and when we can trigger if it's been done by a recruiter or rules engine. Select both, and they're going to select an action to change status to the unsuccessful folder. So, yep, reject email triggered. Once done, press next, keyword name, and then press create rule. You can see all the rules which has been created. Quickly close it and execute the following one. Let's say we selected the candidate. After the interview, hiring manager confirms that the following candidate is not suitable for the role. You can basically send an email to the selected candidate, select the template reject, and press send email. Now, just because we have created a rule, a candidate will automatically move to the unsuccessful folder and will be more manageable, so that way you don't send up reject email twice to the candidate. Now, this way is to create rules on individual job. Let's say you have a certain rules which is being used on different process. We can definitely link those rules in an existing workflow. Let's do it through workflow. To do it this way, we go to administration, click on process designer. We again select one of the existing workflow, in this case PReady, and then we click on manage rules. Once you click on it, you can see all the existing rules which has been there on the folder. If you wish to create a new one, you select the folder and press create rule. You select or complete the 4-step wizard. Let's say on feedback submitted. In this time, we're going to select feedback decision is yes. And then we're going to move the candidate to the next step. In this case, is going to be interview. So, yep, feedback triggered the rule. And then next, keyword name, press create rule. Once you have made changes to the existing workflow, you can synchronize those rules back to the jobs which are using this process by clicking the sync rules. There are two ways to sync. The first one is partial reset, which means it will not overwrite any of your existing rules which you have manually created on a job. Now, this is a good way to do not affect anyone's work which has been done on an individual job. But if you want to amend across the whole process, you can click on full reset and press synchronize. Once you have done, all the jobs which are using the following PReady template will be basically having all these rules, including a one known rule we created. That's all for today. Is there any questions from your side?
Not from me, thank you.
Jeez.
I have a few actually.
Go on, Chris. Yep.
So I've got quite a few, but I'm actually just going to focus on some of the ones with more interest, I guess.
Yep.
So let's have a little look here. First of all, the custom fields you created for candidates, can they be used in the RTF exports you were referencing before?
RTF, which is request to
rich text. The rich text file.
Yes, it can be. So once we create those custom tags, so let's say that's a good question. So any custom fields we created,
yeah,
it's something. Let's say within the candidate profile you're talking about. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes. That's
So let's
what I
say,
was
yep,
referring
if
to.
any fields we created within the candidate profile, we can definitely see those columns. Now, to find those columns, they all are differentiated by the categories. So candidate is basically default candidate categories. Application is default application columns. And then we got application custom fields, which
Yeah.
is custom columns we created. And sort of with the jobs, which is basically all the jobs basic fields, and then comes with the job custom fields. Then we got the reference check, referees, and referee the custom fields. So yes, you can definitely have those fields to be used. In other way,
And I
even
was going
if
to
you
say as well, those tags, can you use those in email templates as well in general?
That's correct. Now, I would
Great, yeah.
recommend that anytime you create any candidate new questions, we request you to attach against an application if you want to use against an email template or a rich text file. The reason is because candidate can have multiple application form, right? So if you want to generate a specific email template to have a data in it, you want to make sure that is being stored against that application record. And that way, let's say, I'm going to show you quickly. Let's say we got industry experience and there's a drop down value. You can basically edit this one and save this back in Springboard application field. So once a recruiter decide that, yep, this information is selected, you can save against that application field. I'm not selecting the relevant, but let's say applicant title is the relevant field. Once you have done, all you need to press save. So moving forward, anytime you use that field and update on the candidate record, it saves on the application, and that way you can use in the email template and so do in the rich text file. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, great, thank you.
Cheers, yeah.
I've got quite a few more, but if anyone else wants to chime in between, please go ahead.
Yeah. I think I'll take a few more questions from you, and then we'll see if we have another person who wants to ask. So, yeah.
Great. So with the logic rules, you can apply the logic engine. I noticed that you could do multiple. You could add criteria, multiple criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just curious about how the logic, the and or was applied within that, how complicated you could get.
Okay, that's a good one. Now let's go back to Process Designer quickly and show you what and or logic's gonna be. So gonna be quickly. So all your logics is more focused on the condition section, okay? By default, any condition has been applied. So it's more like between different filters, they are applied with AND logic.
Yeah.
And within different values you select is going to be OR logic. So it will be more like apply action when recruiter moves the candidate or rules engine moves the candidate, and internal equals to yes or no, or prefer not to respond. So basically, each value you select is going to have a OR logic, whereas each filter will have an AND logic. You can also select not equal to, which will be NOR logic. So
yeah, that's really good. Thanks.
You can also, let's say these are some basic filters, and as I said, you might have different filters on each platform. Just because I'm using my demo website is having different set of conditions. Now, if you see that there's a filter can be used from your application form, let's say within my application form, there's a question which is asked, and I want to make sure I want to have a rule based on that value, because every application is being answering that question, you can request app support, which is basically through the ticketing system, and we can add that filter for you to be used for the rules engine.
That's perfect. Awesome.
Yep, good.
I guess also the other thing about the logic that I was interested in, I noticed you mentioned you could apply that to all jobs, or you can go to a specific job and apply, say, logic to a folder. Could you apply logic to a group of jobs?
So to apply to a group of job, you have to do it through Process Designer, because every job will have a workflow. And that's why we can do it through group of job by Process Designer.
So you'd be targeting the workflow that's on multiple jobs rather than say, I wanted to apply to multiple jobs. Okay.
So if you want to do it to two multiple jobs, you better create a copy of your existing workflow. And if you think that it's just going to be used by your team or yourself, you give it a unique name and then just do it and use it for your job. So that way, you cannot select 2 or 4 jobs do it unless you do it using the workflow you're seeing right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Those were really good questions. I appreciate. Is there any other questions? Chris, you have any more questions or?
I did have one more. I'm sorry, but
no, that's all right. It's really good that I'm able to answer your questions. So.
Good. Last one, this one.
Yep.
So with the reference list, you updated those from a few different places. I noticed, you went to the back end, you made some changes from like an app form view with that sort of admin toggle.
Yep.
When you edit from the different places, does that update the master list or does that create a separate instance?
So what it is doing is basically updating the main list for your solution. It's not updating for each user. Okay, and it will be updated on the master list. It wouldn't be creating a copy of it, right? When you update any existing one, it's still gonna end. So basically, it's not gonna affect the same record. So let's go back to the reference data, and let's go find out to wish to answer, right? So let's go to the category. Now you can see I'm not really sure what's the one. I updated the label and then press saved. However, system automatically end the record, which means we still have a log saying who made the changes, right? That way we know who made the changes at what time. It also tells you what's done through the admin screen. Within the database, we also know which user did, so that way we know if something goes wrong, we can go and roll back for you.
Amazing. And can you report on that?
Again, it depends on what column. The main point of reporting is through the fields you got on your requisition screen or application form. So let's say if you wish, you're capturing such information, say employment status, right? And if you wish to have that column to be added to any existing report, we can do that. And that way, the whole point of having a drop-down is to capture structured information rather than adding unstructured data by recruiter. Yep. Now again, if you don't have access by clicking on the pencil icon, it's all user permission. So you might see that do not have access kind of issue in your admin account. Now, I'm not sure what access you have at the moment, but if you see that, let us know. We will definitely add user permission and provide more information about it if required.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Cheers. All right. Is there any other questions by the team members, or was it too straightforward? I know there was too much to take at the same time, but as I said, once you start going around different places and again, create a rule by yourself, you will understand more. And if you have any concern about creating a rule or creating an automation, feel free to reach out to me and again, to the app support. And definitely we are all here to support you guys. Okay. Cool. All right, so just wanted to know if all good. Thanks for your time and have a beautiful day ahead.
Thank you. Very good.
Very much.
Thanks.